Welcome back to the 2-minute warning. Back on the topic of the NFL today. Big news, at least for us Bucs fans. Antonio Brown has been re-signed, $6.25 million with just a little over 3.1 guaranteed. So Antonio Brown is coming back. It was really the last piece of the puzzle to put back together the Bucs team that won it all last year. So today we're just going to be talking about really what that means for the Bucs and whether or not they're going to go back to back. And that leads us into the question of the day, which is, do you guys think the Bucs will go back to back? Like I said, they really put together the entire team they had last year. Antonio Brown was the last piece. They've really put them all back. So comment below whether or not you think the Bucs will win again this year. But Jay, what do you think this really means for the Bucs?
I do think this means we might have the best GM in football. Jason Light, I think is how you pronounce his last name. And the crazy fact is that we still have a draft pick in the first round. And you saw how well we drafted last year. Tristan Wirfs in the first round, best offensive lineman in the draft. And then Antoine Winfield Jr. in the second round, kind of maybe the best player in the second round of the draft. He was definitely a steal. So the fact that we still have draft capital and we're still moving forward and we already have a Super Bowl roster is just insane. Antonio Brown, it's weird because they announced that before he was re-signed, they already had the starting lineup back, which means he wasn't in the starting lineup. And it's crazy to think that he's not a starter, but there's a chance that if Antonio Brown is even half the guy he used to be or was the guy he was last year, at the end of the year, this team has 3 wide receiver number ones on the team between Mike Evans, between Chris Godwin, between Antonio Brown, and then you have some underrated guys in Speedy Scotty Miller, young rookie Tyler Johnson, and then the tight end position. We might have the most depth there in the NFL between O.J. Howard, Robert Gronkowski, Cameron Brate. This Bucs team, you guys know the drill. It's a Super Bowl roster. It's just a question of whether or not are they actually going to bring it into fruition and go back-to-back. The defense is back, and the big three in this, the Bucs probably had, I don't know the exact number, but 8 big free agents roughly, and I was going to be happy if we got maybe half. They brought them all back. Like I said, this just kind of earns a spot that we might have the best GM in football.
Yeah, the credit for me, yes, the GM, but Tom Brady, I guess, deserves all the credit.
Yeah, everyone took a pay cut so they could play with Brady. So
yeah.
I do, fair enough.
Exactly. So I think Tom Brady, this comes back around. He takes the contract renegotiation, whatever, gets his guys back. The guy knows how to win football games. I mean, like you said, Antonio Brown being as good as he was and still is, for him to not even be as part of our technical starting lineup is impressive. He only caught 4 touchdowns last year, but I think that they were really in a span of the last 4 or 5 games. He really carried it in to the postseason really well, and then he had 1 big touchdown catch in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. So he obviously plays a big role in this team, but it's not necessarily getting him back that means he's going to be our number 1 target and all that. It's just he's just another piece that we can use in the red zone. We can use when we need a guy to get open. So the Bucs team is so well-rounded, and we just haven't lost a single step from last season. So I think that bringing Antonio back is just icing on top of the cake.
Yeah, and the fact that we still don't know what he is. Is he a wide receiver number 1? Is he a bust? Is he not half what he used to be? It might hurt us, but it also hurts other defenses because no one knows what he is. So it does hurt to plan against us, and that's for sure. But overall, I just think there isn't a better receiving core in the NFL when it comes to star power in Mike Evans, in Chris Godwin, and in Antonio Brown, and then in depth as well. I've already named the guys. Yeah, there's other teams out there, and the Rams got a pretty good one, and Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, they signed Deshaun Jackson, they got Van Jefferson, they got Tyler Higbee. I mean, we know the powerhouse in the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. They got star power, but they don't have the depth like the Bucs. Rams is probably arguably the best wide receiver, second best when it comes to depth chart. The Browns as well, the healthy OBJ. But like I said, with him not being in the starting lineup, it's not going to make or break the Bucs. It's definitely not going to hurt them. It's just a question. I think now that they have the chemistry together, I do think they will get a back-to-back Super Bowl run. Of course, it won't be easy. Like I said, the Rams and Stafford and their receiving core and a great defense. Packers with Aaron Rodgers are always going to be competitive as long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy. Healthy 49ers with maybe the next best rookie. We don't know. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are always going to be tough. Minnesota Vikings, Arizona Cardinals, always going to be some tough wildcard teams. Do I think they have the roster to make it back-to-back on paper? Yes, but we just have to see it come into fruition. Like I said, back-to-backs don't usually happen in the NFL, but if there's one guy to do it again, it would be Brady.
Yeah, the Rams are such a big question mark because, like I said, or like you just said, they should be really good.
Yeah.
But Matthew Stafford, obviously, his first year in a new program is not going to be given success immediately. So we'll have to see there. Obviously, on the offensive side of the ball, the Bucs are very good. We just talked about it. Defensive side of the ball the same way. Winfield Jr., we got Murphy Bunting at corner. I mean, the linebackers and Lavonte David and Devin White, all the above. It brings up the interesting point. What are the Bucs? What direction do they even go in the draft?
I think because we have so many free agents again the following year, like AB, he's on a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin, he's on a 1 year.
We're gonna put them all, get them all back again.
Leonard Fournette on a 1 year. Giovanni, Ronald Jones, JPP, Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh. I think we'll be planning to replace one of those guys in the draft. Maybe a Gregory Rousseau to replace JPP.
Okay.
Or maybe, just maybe, they might look at a quarterback in the end of first round. I think they'll do that on a day 2 in rounds 2, 3, or 4. But if a guy they like is just sitting there at 32, maybe a Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
It might be tempting, but to me, they're going to be looking to possibly replace one of those guys or go in the secondary. I like Sean Murphy-Bunting and Antoine Winfield Jr. or Carlton Davis, but I'd love to see them steal maybe a Caleb Farley. If he actually falls all the way to possibly a second rounder, the Bucs might want to take him as the last pick in the first round, a guy that has a little bit of risk, but the insane upside that could really help out the Bucs in the secondary. And again, the NFC is going to be tough again, but if they face the Chiefs, I'm kind of just assuming they'll face the Chiefs again. Obviously, that's not guaranteed. This is a complete different Chiefs team, and the Bucs team is kind of the same. But the Chiefs with a brand new built offensive line, I'm not sure we're going to get, I don't want to say an easy game again, but I don't know if the outcome is going to be the same with a brand new O-line with the Chiefs. It will be interesting to see if they match up again.
Right. I like the idea of going secondary, late first round. To say Caleb Farley falls that far, it's possible. It seems every day he's kind of slipping down with J.C. Horn sliding up in the draft.
I mean, we're not complaining.
We could take a guy like Asante Samuel. That would be kind of, not to say early, but to him take him first round, it'd be a little higher than projection.
Probably about right. Either very late or very early in the second.
Yep. I really like the idea of taking Kyle Trask, for example. I think any young quarterback's dream would be to go sit behind Tom Brady. Tom Brady's now got 2 years left in Tampa Bay with his new contract. I think it's 2 years. So you get super valuable time sitting behind Tom Brady. I like Kyle Trask, of course, out of Florida. That is a little bit of a bias, but I think that he could learn a lot, or anybody can learn a lot behind Tom Brady. But I think Kyle Trask has the tools that Tom Brady could work into something. So obviously Tom Brady can't play for the Bucs forever. So I like the idea of going quarterback to sit behind Tom.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, I agree. We both go to Florida. I would love to see Kyle Trask. I do think they might be looking at the Stanford guy, Davis Mills. But either way, one of these guys, it's not like our future might be in their hands long term, but as of right now, in the short term, when it comes to the Super Bowl run, it's not going to change our lives completely. I'd love to see them in the first round and second round just invest all of it into a back-to-back run, and then round 3, maybe looking at quarterbacks, but I don't know if we'll get lucky with the Trask or Mills fall into a third round. But either way, even if there wasn't a draft, this Bucs roster is ready to win now, and I think has a good chance of going back-to-back, or at least at minimum. There's just no way in my mind they don't at the bare minimum make an NFC championship. That's like the bar
exactly
to me that it's just almost guaranteed. I know nothing's guaranteed, but that's at the bare minimum where I see them going.
Yeah, I exactly. That sounds like a strange bare minimum for this Bucs team, but I think that really is the reality. We talked about it when we did our Bucs record video. I do believe they play the Rams late in the season. We kind of set it up as the Rams get them in the regular season, which sets up a revenge NFC championship for Tom Brady and the Bucs. It just seems like they're bound for the Super Bowl again. And it's interesting that I guess the matchup seems to be like it might be them and the Chiefs again. And it's just interesting to see with the Chiefs' new O-line, because last year, obviously, the Bucs totally manhandled them up front.
Yeah, and one more thing about AB, him coming back on up to $6 million, I feel like there were other teams out there that Ravens are wide receiver desperate, and then there's other teams that just had the cap to overpay. The Colts have money, the Jets have money. Not that they wanted a receiver like AB, but they had the money to overpay him. And the Ravens, they were wide receiver desperate. I feel like they would have paid him over $6 million. So this finally answered our question. Was AB more worried about a paycheck, or is he more worried about a ring? And I do think he wants the championship path, and that's smart math in my opinion. To me, that ring's invaluable, and that's what I would go for. But of course, once you've already made your money, once you've already got your ring, it is a tough dilemma.
Yeah, and I think Tom Brady, if anybody in the league is going to keep AB under control off the field and just keep him disciplined, I think Tom Brady is the guy. But again, Antonio Brown headed back to the Bucs, $6.25 million, $3.1 guaranteed. That was the news today. Jay, as far as the question today, I kind of talked about it a lot, but do you think the Bucs will go back to back?
If I had to put money, I would say yes. Yeah. If I had to.
Yeah, I got to go yes. I think Tom Brady really played just as well as he ever has last year. He's got one of the most talented, well-rounded teams he's ever had, and I just think this Bucs team is going to be just as good as they were last year. And I think if I had to guess a matchup, it'd be Bucs-Chiefs again, and I wouldn't expect it to be a 23-point, 22-point win this time, but I think the Bucs-Chiefs rematch, I think the Bucs edge them out again. That is our final verdict, guys. Thanks for watching. 2-minute warning.